And you see these brown faces, or you see these Asian faces, and you think,
Recently, a professor in the United States publicly blasted immigrants in the United States, especially Indian immigrants in the United States, saying that they are critical of everything in the United States, but in fact India is a cesspool. This remark is another example of the oppression of racism in the United States. For some time now, a series of violent attacks against ASEAN Americans in the US have attracted great attention from both domestic and international media. Asian Americans in the United States have long faced the threat of discrimination and violence, with more than 10,000 hate incidents against ASEAN Americans and Pacific Islanders in the United States between March 2020 and January 2021. Abuse, beating, shooting. The current series of experiences of ASEAN Americans is directly attributable to the racist manipulation of COVID-19 by US politicians. The stubbornness of the US government in the face of the sudden COVID-19 outbreak has not only caused the death of millions of Americans, but also exposed and exacerbated the chronic disease of racial discrimination in the US. In order to shirk responsibility for the inadequate response to the epidemic, some US politicians have openly incited racial hatred by blaming China, making Asian Americans the most direct scapegoat. It can be seen that the increasing intensity of racism in recent years is closely related to the promotion of the United States government. It has been seen that White House politicians, out of political self-interest, have used the racial issue as a tool of political struggle, which has directly led to the rise of racism in American society. Other minorities are also in trouble. Hundreds of protesters gathered after Patrick Lyoya, a young black man, was shot and killed by police on April 4. Today's America, racial discrimination is deeply ingrained, plus some politicians are not as even in sight and indulge openly ethnic persecution by racial discrimination. This causes the minority in the distribution of wealth, health, employment, education, political participation, and so on all aspects of human rights infringements, deepening the stain on soul in the United States. The racial equality Americans yearn for is beyond reach. The National Urban League released its annual report on the condition of Black Americans Wednesday, AP reported. The Equality Index showed that Black Americans still receive only 73.9% of the treatment of white Americans, from history to reality. Institutional racial discrimination in the United States has led to irreconcilable social conflicts and increasing divisions. From domestic to foreign affairs, the so-called beacon light is further dimmed by the reckless decisions and absurdities of US politicians.